Tsai and Zordius Chen. I want to give everyone a big hand for Montie.
Thank you. Okay, today our topic is about the codename code battle, because actually backend we use the Mojito, but in front end the battle can contain cocktails and on the go, so we call it battle. It's actually a set of the YUI modules. Yeah. Introduce ourselves. I'm Montie, and this is Zordius. We are all work in Yahoo APAC e-commerce mobile team. We are located in Taiwan. I have 4 years experience in Yahoo, and Zordius has 9 years. Okay, in case anyone did not know, where Taiwan is. And this is Taiwan in APAC region. Yeah, and you could, where are we now? We are here in Santa Clara. Okay. So first of all, introduce our promo video for our battle. Actually, we built all of this for mobile developers. Yeah, it's kind of side product from our mobile ocean project. Now we have essential pack. Contains, now it's a nine UI components in that. And when we do that, this video it's just 8, yeah. And this is a little bit live demo. We have more demo later, yeah. Low more, yeah. Okay, we do hope some of you to use that, or at least try it. Yeah, this is one of the purpose we're here. Okay, so first of all, we'll introduce some of the UI mobile web UI trend. And this is a typical website. This is Yahoo News. This is PC web. So I think most of you must be familiar with the mobile app. So actually, mobile web is to contain the web content and in mobile device. Yeah. So actually we have 9 UI components, and we can group them into 4 groups. The first one is we want to achieve the goal to provide the app-like user experience, just like the native app. So we have patch, shortcut, push pop, and overlay widget. The second group is to provide finger-friendly experience. We provide carousel. As you know that the scroll view also provides some function like carousel, but we have more on that. Yeah, also the slide tab. And the third one, the fourth one is a tool. Loader is a Ajax wrapper, and also multi-device support, kind of HTML viewer, and also photo grid. Okay. So I think the first idea is how you fit, this is a typical layout for a PC page, how you fit that into a small size screen in mobile devices. Okay, so first step you would think that just make the header smaller. Yeah. And then this column, mostly you'll put some functional link, filter, and shortcut on that. Then you can hide it in the back. Then when you put this in the mobile device, then just like the like Facebook app or Pass app, there's a similar function. You just click the button in the top left, then the hidden menu will show. So to achieve this, this is the page widget is the basic one. If you ever developing mobile devices, that you would some pain point is you have always to adjust the screen size when the phone orientation change, and also the header, footer, a lot of requirement that you have to fix this, fix header, and but we have a lot of devices to support, so we take care of this. Okay, the second one is shortcut and overlay widget. We can do some animation to display the shortcut. For example, this one is unveil, and also overlay, and you can push in some hidden content. Yeah. Okay, we also provide use the push part extension. It's just like the native app behavior. Yeah, and you can also back, which is to pop the view. Yeah, available for page, overlay, and shortcut. So this is the first group. We have more deep diving later. I just introduce them, the four groups. Yeah. The second one is to provide a finger-friendly experience. For example, you can see this is a common component in PC web design. Photo gallery by categories. There's a lot of tabs, right? So if only you just make it small and put that in a small size screen, it turns out that the user experience will be very bad. So we have slide tab widget. Yeah, we want to fully utilize every area in the screen. You can use fingers to swipe the tabs, then the responding content module will show up. Yeah, and also the cursor widget, usually used for module display and photo display. And we provide other features more than use scroll view page. We have a horizontal vertical lock function, and also you could swipe and go to swipe and 2 or 3 modules. Yeah. Okay, this is a loader widget. It's just a lightweight Ajax wrapper. I use it for that. It's just kind of an app experience to infinite scroll. Then you can click the load more, and the content will append. Yeah. Okay, and this is photo grid widget. We're going to provide the vertical view, just like the Pinterest, and also the horizontal, just like the Google image search, and also the square one. You could see that in maybe Facebook. Yeah, it's modern UI for photo display. Yeah, and we also have a pen support, which is infinite scroll, load more things. Yeah. And for photo grid widget, it's a multi-device concept. Yeah. So the idea is that the user can define the width for each column. Then we can calculate how many columns is suitable in this screen size and display the photo modules. Yeah. The other thing we do for multi-device concept is this is auction site in Taiwan. Yeah, Yahoo auction site. And just like eBay, the user can put a lot of custom HTML on. This is the item page. and sometimes it's really huge. Yeah, a lot of the contents, photos. So we do some spatial treatment for images that to provide the user better browsing experience when you want to put all of this in a small size screen. So we provide some zoom in, zoom out feature for images. You just put all the HTML in a div, then we can take care rest of that. Yeah, the user can click the zoom button, then scroll and view the details, then back. Okay. This is the live demo in our project. You can see we use a sliding tab and carousel in our front page to show some items, and also the shortcut in left side, and there's a push pop inside the shortcut. Yeah. And this is an item list page. We use overlay to advanced filter function. And there's also right side shortcut, both left side and right side in the same. And this is a single item page. Also use the carousel to display the photos. Okay, next I will let Zordius to introduce more on the design concept, and also more on how we design that, do some performance tuning things. Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Zordius. I want to discuss about the mobile design concept. First, we start from desktop version. This is a typical web page. As you can see, we got header, footer, and side column. If you want to fit this content into the mobile device, then you can see we cannot see anything. User need to zoom in, zoom out, or scroll up, scroll down, scroll left, scroll right. So we cannot just do this. So what we can do? First, we can considering to remove some content from this page. For example, remove secondary contents. And we just keep major content on it and remove the side column. So we do this, then we have chance to fit this rest content into mobile device. Then by this design, user can scroll up and down to see all the major content. So that is the best concept of mobile design. The pros are it's really simple and fast, but the cons, user have not many choice. He can only do scroll up and down and click the link. So we call it weak navigation. And the user need to scroll long distance up and down to get to reach both sides. So it is not very good. So then we come. The idea is we can provide more choice with some design. The first one is we can try to make the header in fixed position. When users scroll up and down, then he can always see the header. Then we put some additional function on it. Of course, we can make the header smaller. Then user can see more content on it. Then we can put more functions on the header. For example, these three regions. Left-hand side, right-hand side, we can provide two more shortcuts. Then user have more choice. For the left-hand shortcut, we can provide navigation or some other popular function. For example, category list, anything else. And at the right-hand side, we can provide something for personalization. For example, shopping cart, anything else. So with this, we can provide more choice for user by persistent header and the shortcut menu. This is another way to provide more choice. We can make the up and down scroll one dimension to two dimension. For example, we can provide carousel. Then user can have another dimension. He have a chance to view more content with carousel. Just flick left and right. Another way is push view. This is very traditional iOS thinking. We can just push another view into the page. So far we have four design pattern for more advanced mobile web page. And thinking about customization, here are two ways to transition the shortcut in. The left-hand side is push, just like this, and the right-hand side is unveil. From the beginning, the shortcut is hidden under the page, and then we move the page, then user will see the shortcut. These both two design, we need to reposition the page. So we design the page widget, and as you can see, the shortcut widget. So far, we have four design pattern to support this. Here comes our library major requirement. Here we have fixed position widget and push pop, and we need to move the content, reposition it, and we need our library to easy to use. So we put our library on YUI Gallery, then it will be easy to use. You can just write some JavaScript code, initialize our library, then everything is done. Another design is you can initialize widgets with HTML5 tag by data row attribute, and then you can customize with data attribute, and you can change the look and feel with CSS. So, for example, with this HTML tags, it brings you this user interface. So it's really simple. With these major requirements, here comes some design challenges. First, to support fixed position, the most simple way is use CSS position fixed attribute. In iOS 5, this is fully supported, but in some device, there's no any support on it. User cannot see the fixed header in this device. And in some other device, the support is partial. The header is only show up after the scroll is ended. So, as we can see, the position fixed support cannot be done well on all devices with CSS position attribute. So we decided to use non-native scroll solution. The concept is to simulate scroll behavior by touch event. For example, the iScroll, it is an open source library to simulate the scroll behavior, and the other one is YUI3 scroll view. Finally, we use scroll view because we are YUI based. The pros of the solution is it can work on all devices, but cons the performance is not very well compared to the native one. And sometimes it breaks the native score behavior because, for example, if a user make a touch on the device, maybe the library will cancel the touch, so you cannot make the score happen by native browser. So how we can do this? First, we change our page size just the same with mobile device, so user cannot scroll up and down, right? And then we put a scroll view on it. So user can do scroll on the scroll view. He can scroll the content up and down. As you can see, by the way, the header is fixed on the top. So that's our concept. And if you want to more customization, we can do, for example, like this. The header is not fixed and the footer is not fixed. So by the way, you can make the header fixed, or more, you can make the footer fixed, but you get a smaller viewport. So we have two attributes for these two options. And we align the design with YUI standard module. You can see header and footer, and maybe we will put the scroll view into body. And all these three widgets have fixed header footer support, and we decide to support push pop in these three widgets. For example, we can do push pop in the shortcut, and push pop in page and overlay. By this, we can create very complex user intention that may be fancy. When device orientation changes, we need to handle something. For example, for page, we need to change the height and width, just like this. And for shortcut, we only need to change the height. For overlay, we don't need to care about of the size, but we need to reposition it. So here comes the requirement. We analyze the functions of these three widgets, and we found there are some duplications. So we can have one parent class to handle this. As we know, YUI widgets support change the size, both width and height. So we extend the widget, and YUI widget position can have positioning function. So finally, we got something like this. But this is a traditional inheritance pattern. And maybe we can refine the function of the parent class like this. So here comes the problem. We have two ways to make the inheritance, but these two ways are different. If at left-hand side, you cannot get a push-pop class without fixed header and footer, and another one, you cannot get a fixed header footer without a push pop. So we use a YUI solution. And there are two ways to resolve this. And the first one is Y extend, and another one is Y plug. With Y extend, we can pick one parent class, then plus many extensions. And the plug method, we can add plugin on instance. This is instance-based solution. So we use extend because we want a prototype-based solution. So far, we make many extensions for these functions. Then finally, we can, for example, we can build our page widget with these extensions, including YUI extensions. And if in future we need another new class, we only need push pop function, then we can create it by extend. So it cannot be done with traditional inheritance because you cannot create a push pop class without this. Here comes some performance challenges. The first one is the native scores, the scoring performance problem. Because we use a non-native score solution, it's a little bit slow. For example, in our mobile Ocean homepage, we have 12 score views in one page. That means if a user do one click, do one touch, then the touch event will be triggered, and then we have 12 event handler to handle it. So in this situation, user will feel the score is not very smooth. FPS is really low. So how to resolve it? And there are two ways. The first one is reduce the number of score views, and then another is we can fall back to use native score. For the first one, we can disable hidden widgets. For example, when our shortcut is hidden, then we can disable the all score view inside it. Then we can reduce the active number of widgets. Another way is we can delay the initialize task until user want to see it. So then the number of instances are reduced, then you get fewer score views. The second one, we have graceful downgrade function in our page widget. So then we implement the score with native score. So this makes the score speed more fast. Another performance issue is long initialize duration. For example, in our Ocean mobile page, user need to wait for about 4 seconds. User just can see one loading icon until all widgets are initialized. Finally, we calculate the number of widgets in our page. It's almost 33 widgets in one page. That's horrible. So we need to resolve this performance issue. But how? There are two ways. The first one is delay the initialization of widgets. Just I mentioned, you can delay the initialize of hidden widgets, and the other one is lazy load. After we use these two solutions, the number of widgets are reduced from 33 to 11. As you can see, this is a big improvement, and finally we got about 1 second waiting time. That's really good. Here comes a tricky part of our lazy loading. We use HTML comment. We use HTML comment, and then all our HTML tag inside the comment will not be rendered. For example, image tag will not be rendered and not be downloaded. And all widgets inside the HTML comment will not be initialized too. So what do we do when, for example, when user change the tab view, we monitoring on the tab view event. Then before the user see the new tab, we check the inner HTML to see is there any HTML comment inside it. Then we regular expression to replace the inner HTML with new one to remove the HTML comment. Then we put a new string back and help a user to initialize any widget inside the HTML. So we get the lazy load with this way. It's really simple because you don't need to implement anything like Ajax or anything else. All you need to do is add the HTML comment tag in your template. Then everything is done. Here is device orientation challenges. As I mentioned, when user change device orientation, we need to handle many widgets. For example, page and shortcut, we need to change the size of this widget or change the position. Maybe we can handle it with this pattern. Every widget can listen on orientation change event or a screen size change event, but it not work well because it may cause overhead because everything is done with YUI event model. So it's not a good solution. Our solution is we use only one event handler to handle everything, but not every widget. We only handle page, shortcut, and overlay, and only working on visible ones. And how about other widgets? Here is the problem. Because if we handle all widgets in one event handler, something like this, what will be happened? As we can see, first we handle page. So the page size changed after orientation change. And then shortcut, we cannot see shortcut, so bypass it. And then our carousels, here we can see two carousels in this page. But only the first one carousel need to change the size. And the bottom one, as you can see, the width is just fit to its parent, so we don't need to change it. So the program still come to next or viewer, so we handle the viewer, and then finally we handle the slide tab. So this is the final situation, and we see it's buggy because the carousel is not be handled by this order. So it's totally not work. You cannot know your user press which widget into another. So you cannot decide the best ordering of this. So our solution is we only handle these three widgets in our event handler, and all others is handled by YUI event model. That means any other widgets, when it is initialized, then it will search for its parent, then listen on the size change events. So here goes the solution like this. Page, shortcut, and overlay. Then everything is done with listen on parent. We just see the page size changed, so the carousel and the slide tab got the event, then the size changed, and then viewer and the carousel. As you can see, everything is done very well. So with this, we handle the orientation change very well. And this purpose can handle any kind of widget stack. For example, user can press any widget inside another widget. We don't care about it. Everything will be handled very well. So far, we know there are many challenges as we discussed, including performance, orientation change, and supporting many kind of device. So we know that to implement a mobile web, you need to handle many things. The good news is almost everything is done with our library. So try it now. Yeah. Or just see the source code of it's on GitHub, so you can try to browse the source code. Many tricky things inside it. Links, here everything is on the net. The links is really long, so this is a simple way. You can just try to search YUI and battle, then you reach there. So that's all. Thank you.
So we can open things up for questions.
Hello.
Hi. So I noticed that obviously you've got this nice roll-up of all the modules, and when I look closer, I noticed that you had broken out each of the individual pieces of Bottle into separate modules. Is it possible to use one of the sub-modules separately, or do you really have to load the whole Bottle suite in order to get the components to work well together?
Your question is it possible to use only some component of Bottle? The answer is that it's not possible because, for example, which I just mentioned about the event orientation change event, it is handled by our core function, core module, and almost all widgets are dependent on it. So we have one core module named Gallery Bottle, and almost every other modules depend on it. Yeah.
So I worked on the Yahoo Olympics app, and we also experienced a lot of issues making scroll view work. Not really problems with scroll view, but of course the application and the performance and the platform. So one thing that I never got to try that I wanted to is just actually simply doing an iframe. I mean, it's considered bad practice traditionally on a web page to add an iframe for scrolling. But given the circumstance, why not? It seems like it would work. Did you guys try that?
The answer is why not we just try the iframe solution. As we know, from the beginning, the iPhone it's really support iframe or scrolling inside the div, but user need to use two-finger gesture to enable it to scroll up and down.
In div?
Yes.
In iframe too?
Yes. So far. And as we know, that yesterday we have new CSS attribute to enable it with only one finger, but it's not in traditional iOS device. It's in new iOS.
I think the promise was like iOS.
Yeah.
At least iOS 5. You think maybe Sorry. I was wondering. First of all, you mentioned you built this for use with cocktails, but it looks like it doesn't. It doesn't have to be used with cocktails. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And second question is with the slide tab, which is I really like that pattern. I think that's very clever. But do you have any trouble getting users to kind of get how that works and what it does, or have they kind of figured that out?
Yeah, that's a UI design change.
I think you can notice that there were some small arrows that.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
you can see the other tabs kind of off to the sides, you
Yeah.
kind of get it. But I wonder if they, I mean, it's just, like because it's an unfamiliar pattern, even though it's very clever. I'm just curious whether.
Yeah.
You might not.
We can see this design pattern in some apps. So it's not very popular, so not every user can recognize this. That's a challenge, but if most people use this, then most user can know how to use it.
Yeah, maybe also depends on how you design the width. Maybe user will see there have text in the right tab, then they will try to swipe or something. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? I have one question for you. Can you animate that tab programmatically so that they can discover that like a carousel? The slide tab?
With program?
So the slide tab, can you animate that so it slides automatically?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can see, based on we use the same extension as the carousel. So in carousel we have an arrow to move to the next module. So the same function applies to slide tab. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Is there any other? Are there any other properties or sites that are using Bottle right now, so we can see more of it in action? I mean, obviously there's.
Yeah, we are dog fooding. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the idea is that, but we are from e-commerce mobile team. So e-commerce means the shopping side like Amazon, auction side like eBay, and also we have a store and marketplace. So actually, there are shopping behavior. So there might be the similar navigation, similar behavior. So at least we will use Bottle for all of the three properties in the coming year. Yeah. And we do help others to use that.
Yeah. Well, I guess what's the web address for what I'm looking at right now? If I wanted to look at it on my phone and see it in action on a full featured site, do you have the web address for?
Which one?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Yeah. You can try.
Or is that
It's hard to use with a pad.
So which part you want to see that?
No. I wanted to play with. We want to see it on our own phone.
Right. The question is there a URL they can try out demos of this? Is it available in the gallery?
Actually, we have demo here in our this component.
What is the URL for the mobile auction site?
We'll launch that next month. So someday next month you will see that. Yeah. But we do have demo here in our library. So example for carousel. This is the basic one. Yeah. We provide only very simple example here. And you can see more advanced one like the
How about
shortcut.
push pop or follow grid?
Yeah, we have lots of. This is shortcut with push function. Yeah.
Maybe you can open in a simulator. We can see that.
You can see that the effect, the transition is also works on Firefox Chrome, even IE10. IE10 is also works. Because we're focused on the mobile devices, so IE6 and 7 is not supported. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.